come into a standing position. So as we're getting started, let's go ahead and choose a standing position where our arms can reach outward without colliding into anything. And as we stand, we begin to spin. And that's one of my favorite ways to warm up because it reminds my body that it's not completely warmed up, that it needs to loosen some things that are tight. And it also alerts me to some things that might be tight enough to be a problem. They're not going to let go easily. And then I can modify and adapt my actions and my behaviors to how my body feels. So back and forth we go. It's a good warm up to practically anything we do. And so that's rather nice. And then we're going to take our arms, we're just going to lift them up and we're going to let them come down. And so that's a secondary shoulder warm up, but it also has some effect in the rest of the body too. So up and down we go. All right, I'll keep doing that for a moment. I gotta go make a slight change on something here. There we go. Finally found it. Okay. So we're taking the arms up and down, swinging back and forth. And then we're gonna bend our knees. We're gonna let the knees go soft. We're gonna rock back on our heels. Do try and lose your balance. Go forward onto your toes. Try and lose your balance. If you're not losing your balance, then you're not gaining any training to your balance. So we wanna lose our balance a little bit. So we go forward and back in a way that creates provocation, and that's great. We'll put one foot forward. It's sort of the same thing as, we raise our arm up, but if we lift our arm up holding the weight, then we're creating a resistance and action that is going to cause the muscle to have to get stronger. So if we just stand there and we don't lose our balance, there's no reason for body to gain balance. If we, let's put the other foot forward, if we do some things that provoke loss of balance, then we're going to actually improve our balance. And so it's very simple. It doesn't have to be a lot at once, but it has to be pretty persistent. Day. Same thing with training the ankle. I want to stand and let the weight come to the inner edge of the foot and then rock the weight out to the outer edge of the foot. We're going to feel some movement, some stretch of the ankle area. And I think most of the time we're up, we're moving, we're not thinking about the feet that are basically our foundation, that are transferring us from one place to the other. And yet they need to be trained just like all the rest of our body. So balance your weight on the ball of the foot and push the heels outward, like you're trying to separate the heels apart. This is going to cause a shift that will uplift your arms. And then we're going to lift toes and pull the fingers back, stretch the hands, stretch the bottom of the foot. And we're going to squeeze our toes down, grip that mat, and grip the fingers into the top where the finger joins into the palm. And we go back and forth. Cross training, which is just unusual movements. And for hands, unusual is to pull away from what we're grabbing. And for toes, unusual is any movement that's purposeful at all. Because we leave them in our shoes and we just don't even move them. Now let's try this. Spread the fingers and the toes out wide and bring them tight. And when the toes go wide, look down and see, can you see any mat between your toes? And at first you may not. The toes are so conditioned to being in a shoe that's tight, they may not be able to widen. Try big toes toward each other. The big toe may not move at first because it's so used to having that edge of the shoe right up against it. That muscle becomes very passive, and so does that part of our brain. Now heels push out, big toe goes down. We lift the small toes up and down. And then small toes pressing down, we lift the big toe up and down. Those heels press out. And then finally, biggest toe down, littlest toe down. 3 center toes are lifting up and down. And that's great. So we've done that brief training for the feet. We stand with that new improved arch, the hips back a bit, lengthening the spine with chest lifting, shoulders easing back and coming down, head lifting so this neck is lengthening, and the breath in and the arm lift happen. And then the breath out and the arms stretching out and coming down. And so we make that movement, we phase it with our breath, and we reach through it. We create a bit of stretch. We find the edges of movement. And again, so you push or you act to the effort that seems appropriate. Something becomes uncomfortable, you adapt to something else. We inhale coming up one side, exhale across and down. Now, most of the time we don't think about the specific nature of a posture being a combination of muscle actions, but that's what it is. Let's go the other way. So the combination of actions we're creating right now are changing. The arm moving even a few degrees is changing the muscles that it works with. So it's all about relationship counseling with our muscles. Let's take the arms up. Lift up through the center of the spine, but also lift the side of your chest, and then add the stretch of the arm to get a full elongation. Inhale, stretch, and then exhale, release that stretch. And then we do it. We lift the center, the side. We reach the arm, we stretch, inhale, exhale, we release. Again, lift the center, the side. Stretch the arm and lift and inhale, and we exhale, we let it go. Lift the center of the side. The arm stretch, we inhale, and then we exhale, we take the hands and interlock them. Press your palms out, stretch your hands, and bring the arms and the chest up. And while we lift, we spiral slowly up. Inhale, and then exhale, releasing that spiral. We're going to upwardly lift, and then spiral up. We inhale, and then we exhale, and we release that spiral, and we upwardly lift. And while we're lifting up, we're going to let our body arch gently. Take a deep breath, and then exhale, let the arms come down and swing again. Now we're going to bring our chest up and squeeze the shoulder blades together, reaching the arms back so we get a nice tight feel between shoulder blades. Exhale, and have your shoulders come forward. Broaden your shoulder blades. Take a deep inhale. So we reach and we squeeze back and we exhale. And the shoulders go forward. We inhale. And then once again, the reach, the squeeze back, the exhale. And we're just going to release our arms apart. Now steps of your feet are wide as the mat and spinning it. Just let those arms turn once again. Now right now, it's going from legs all the way through the body, but we're about to isolate and get to deeper muscle function. So let's lift up the chest, and we're going to keep the hips still, but we're going to turn our shoulders. So the shoulder turns and the pelvis does not. And this means that deeper muscles are having to engage. And you may feel that. You may feel a sort of a deepening of sensation of action. Now upwardly lift and then pivot the pelvis. And here again, we're after that deeper muscle activity. So they get warmed up and they have their effect. In this case, definitely more on the spine. But now we're going to push our feet and our knees outward like we're trying to stretch the mat. Activate the outer hips with that. Pull in your belly. Lift your chest and lower your shoulders. Let your body tilt to the side. Pelvis stays centered. We're going to lift the chest, the arms, stretching up, inhaling. And then we exhale and we bring ourselves out. And then we press out again, the belly in, chest up and shoulders down. We make our tilt, we take the arm, we stretch, we inhale. And then we exhale, we lift ourselves up and out. And we're going to go to a wide stance. So in our wide stance, we bend the knees a little bit so we make more of a platform here, lifting the chest up. So the heel of the palm goes here and we tilt forward. Now one side, I'm straightening the arm comfortably though. The elbow doesn't have to go completely straight. We just stretch our spine, deep inhale. And exhale, we let the elbow bend. And now the other side. We begin to straighten that arm. We take a deep inhale. Exhale, that elbow bends. And now both sides. We press, working to straighten both arms to traction our spine. Deep inhale. And then exhale, bend the elbows, bend the knees. Bring your hands down. And shift your weight to one side, straightening the other leg so your inner thigh is in a stretch. You're breathing deeply. And now we're going to go the other way, stretching across, deepening the breath. We'll take it to the first side again. And then second side, inner thigh stretch. But then coming to center, we're going to lift up our hips. This will create a stretch in the back of the leg. Let the head and the arms hang comfortably. And if you like, you can sway side to side. This is a lovely decompression of the spine. Deep breath. And now place one hand down in the center. We're going to bring the other shoulder up and toward the back of the body. Press out into the feet. Lengthen and breathe. If you like, just take that arm and stretch up toward the ceiling. Inhale. And then exhale. We'll take the other hand down. Bring the shoulder up and toward the back of the body. Press out the feet. Lengthen and breathe. If you like, the arm can come up. Inhale. Exhaling. Coming out of that, bend the knees and place your hands up on the knees. Lift the chest up. And then take the shoulder across your body, gently stretching, breathing. Back to center, we reach across our body, deepening our breath. To the first side again, reach across and inhale. Exhale, center, reach across and inhale. Exhale, come on to center and bend the knees and come up out of that. Now that's good preparation for sun salutes, but sun salutes are something that we need to decide how much of an intensity that we want to feel. So there's all opportunities, and you want to adapt in a way that makes you feel comfortable in what you're doing. And so we're going to start on one end of our mat standing, so that we've got plenty of room to step backwards, standing with our feet hip distance wide and with a good arch. Hips back and chest up, shoulders back and down and chin level. Let's breathe in and lift the arms up. As we begin the exhale, grab the elbows, bend the knees, chest coming down. Now elbows could remain on the knees, just us pulling forward, or we can tilt the hips up, let the head and the arms hang, but we'll adjust the bend of the knee to a comfortable stretch. If head and arms are hanging, we can sway side to side to add a little bit more to the decompression that we're already creating. Breathe in nice and deep. And on this exhale, placing hand, step your right foot back. So it's into lunge, our left knee directly over the ankle. Lift up the right hip, balance ball the foot. Your heel reaches back as your chest and shoulders pull forward. Hold the arch of the left foot. Use either light pressure on the hands, or for greater intensity, one or both arms can stretch forward. Take a deep breath. And on the exhale, hands flattening out, step back and plank. Tighten up the abdomen, pulling in the navel, and lengthen the chest going forward, hips and heels going back. Inhale. Then exhaling, softly lower down the knees, hips back toward heels and the elbows and the forehead all the way down. Now in this position, we can sway the shoulders from side to side to add additional stretch in the shoulders and the rib cage region, breathing deeply. And then waiting on the elbows, shoulders right over the hips. We can even sway the hips from side to side. Knees could stay wide in this, or if you brought the knees close together, you could pivot the feet from side to side to make that an additional stretch, breathing deeply. Now flattening the top of the feet, pressing hands evenly, we come forward and into upward dog, shoulders moving forward to the wrists. Pull up through the collarbones as you sink your hips and press your hands and your feet evenly. Lift those collarbones, inhale, and then exhale, we move back to downward dog. So lift up hips and push your chest toward your thighs. Let your palms flatten evenly, your thumbs gently pulling toward the feet. And bring the weight even into the ball of the foot, head between the arms. We're going to lift up our heels and bend our knees. We're going to lift up our hips and push our chest steadily toward our thighs. Let's broaden the shoulders a little. And if you like, paddle one heel down and up, then the other, and stretch more into the back leg. Deep breathing. Now on exhale, we're stepping right foot forward into lunge, putting the ankle under the knee. And we're going to lift up the left hip, balance the ball of the foot. The heel reaches back, chest and shoulders pull forward. Right foot holds its arch. It's either light pressure on the hands or one or both arms go forward. Take a deep breath. We exhale and step forward, feet hip distance. Now press down on those heels with belly tight, bend your knees and inhale up from the squat. And exhale. Inhale up. Exhale, grab the elbows, bend the knees, chest coming down. Now this time elbows will be forward of the legs. We fold the hands, the head rests, we bend our knees in a skier stance. We press into the legs to move the ribs toward the knees and thus lengthen our spine. We're pulling the shoulders toward the hips to loosen our neck, and we're pressing the feet and the knees outward to engage the outer hip. Keep your breathing focused in that upper back rib cage area. And then exhaling, placing hands, left foot stepping back now. This lunge is going to become a side angle. Left heel goes down, left shoulder lifts, right elbow comes up and on the knee. And we position our hips to stay in the center of the mat, and we move the right knee toward the right edge, engaging in the outer hip. We're going to lengthen on that right side, shoulder moving away from the hip. And then we want to feel the arches to both feet, making sure that left foot, little toe to heel edge is pressing. Now we can bring that left arm further behind the back to lift the shoulder higher. And if we want more intensity, we can just take that right arm forward, deep breath. And then on exhale, hands stepping flat, we step back into plank, and we're pulling in the abdomen and lengthening. Chest goes forward, hips and heels back. Inhale. Exhaling, softly lower down the knees, hips back toward heels, and elbows and forehead down. Now walk your right hand forward enough that your ribs go a little past your knee, flatten your palm, and sway to the right so that your ribs are bowing out to the side. And that's already a stretch, but I want you to breathe to your right side. And every breath in is a chance to expand the rib cage more. And that's going to pull more air into the right side of the chest, the right lung structure. And that's going to make the lung have to fill up more, which is going to help it become more pliable and increase our chances for creating a full deep breath. Exhaling, chest to center and hands even. Now, left hand goes forward, palm flattens. We're going to sway the ribs to the left, to sway outward. We're going to breathe to the left. So the stretch is comfortable. That's what we want to make sure. And we may feel a little resistance at first as muscles have to get stronger and the tissue itself, including the lung tissue, has to loosen up. Exhale, chest to center and hands even. Now we're slowly coming forward to upward dog. Bring your shoulders forward to the wrist and lift your collarbones as you sink down your hips. Your hand and foot pressure even. Lift your collarbones and inhale. And then exhale back to downward dog. Lift the hips and push your chest toward your thighs with your palms evenly flat and thumbs pulling toward the feet. Head between the arms. Balance on the ball of the foot and lift your heels. Bend your knees and lift your hips. Chest pushing toward your thighs. But now we're going to pull the shoulders steadily toward the hips. This is the action of the lats. We'll press our hands and elbows toward each other to bring action to pectorals. We'll make it wide between shoulder blades, and that contracts serratus anterior. And while we're doing that, we can also paddle our heels up and down and lift our hips up, breathe nice and deep. And on this exhale, we'll step our left foot forward to the lunge first, and then into side angle, bringing the right heel down, right shoulder up, left elbow comes up on the knee. The hips go into the center of the mat, the left knee moving toward left edge, and we lengthen the left side, shoulder away from the hip. Right foot, little toe to heel edges pressing. We can bring the right arm behind the back to lift the shoulder higher. If we want the intensity, that left arm can go forward. Take a deep breath. And then we'll exhale and step forward, feet hip distance. Press into the heels, bend your knees with belly tight. Inhale up from the squat. And exhale. Focus on your breathing. Take hands to prayer position, deep inhale. Exhale, push down. Inhale, chest up, arch back. Exhale, forward bend. Right foot back, knee down. Inhaling, chest up, arch back. Exhale, plank. Inhale, knees rest, hips back. Exhale, chest and chin rest forward. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Right foot forward and left knee down. Inhale, chest up, arching back. Exhale and step forward. Inhaling up and arching back. Exhale. Hands prayer position, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, chest up, arching back. Exhale, forward bend. Left foot back, knee down. Inhale, chest up, arch back. Exhale, plank. Inhale, knees rest, hips back. Exhale, chest and chin rest forward. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Left foot forward, right knee down. Inhale, chest up, arch back. Exhale, step forward. Inhaling up, arching back. Exhale. Inhaling up. Exhale, forward. Right foot back is lunge, but maybe we don't step that far back because we're going to bend the right knee and lift the chest all the way up perpendicular, balancing on the ball of the right foot. Tighten the right seat muscle. It's like we're sending that leg backward. Tuck the tailbone under a little bit to open the front of the hip. Pull in the core, lift up the chest, take those arms, stretch upward. And if you like, you can bend and take that right knee down and up. Do that once or twice. Don't let that left knee shoot forward. Third time maybe. And then we're coming down and into plank, stepping back. Chest moves forward, hips and heels back, inhale. Exhaling, the left knee comes down. The elbows come toward the middle of the body and lower slowly to chaturanga. And then upward dog, down to chaturanga, and then downward dog. Now, right foot steps forward. We're making a lunge, and that's a platform. So make it a good lunge, and then it's side angle. Left heel down, left shoulder up and reaching forward. And shoulders and hips in the middle of the mat. If you want to bring your arm up higher, you can. Just adjust to comfort level. Breathing deeply. And now we transition to triangle. Left arm points up, right leg goes straight. The hand can stay low or come up higher. Adjust to what's comfortable and make those shoulders and hips work to line up with each other as you lengthen the spine toward the front of the mat. Now warrior two. Bend the right knee over the ankle. Pull backward through the left arm. Bring your chest all the way up. Chest up, shoulders down. Strong, even reach through both arms. Seat muscles tight. Right knee moving to the right. Lift the chest up more. And then take the arms and lift, but leave that left heel down as you turn into a warrior one position. Seat muscles tight, long spine. Right knee stays to the right. Deep inhale. And then exhale, coming down into a lunge. And we step forward. Inhaling up. And exhale. Inhale up. Exhale forward. Left foot steps back. It's a short lunge because we're going to bend the knee. We're going to lift the chest all the way up, balancing on the ball of that left foot. Chest perpendicular. Left seat muscle tight. It's like we're sending our leg backward, tucking the tailbone under just a bit. Pull in the core. Lift your chest. Take your arms. Stretch upward. Inhale. And then exhale. Coming down into the plank. Chest reaching forward. Hips and heels back. Bring the knees down first. Bring the elbows toward the middle of the body as you lower to chaturanga. And upward dog. Chaturanga. And downward dog. Now the left foot steps forward. First is a lunge, which will be the platform. And then into side angle. Right heel down, right shoulder up, right arm reaching forward. And you decide as your hands stay low, do you bring it up higher? Hips and shoulders in the middle, left knee to the left. Wrist reaching away from that back ankle. And then triangle. Right arm points up. We straighten the left leg. Pelvis will tilt differently. Hand can stay low or bring it up. Chest reaching toward the front of the mat. Long spine. Now warrior two. Left knee goes over the ankle. We pull backward to the right arm. Bring the chest all the way up. Chest up, shoulders down. Strong, even reach through both arms. Seat muscles tight. Left knee staying left. Pull in the core. Lift the chest. And then take the arms, lift upward, turn forward, only the chest, the right heel, and pelvis stay in place. Seat muscles tight, long spine. Left knee to the left. Deep inhale. And then exhale into your lunge and step forward. Inhaling up and exhale. Now that's great. And let's use our warm-up to lengthen our spine before we progress to anything else. Take the feet wide. We're going to lift the chest but bend the knees a little. Put the heel of the palm in the crease and bend forward. And on our right side, we'll work to straighten the arm. We'll see if there seems to be any difference in the improvement in length and flexibility. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, the elbow bends. And then our left side, begin to press. We take a deep inhale. Exhale that, elbow bends. And then both sides. We press strongly to traction our spine. So we start the rest of our class with a long spine. Deep inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows, bend the knees, and come out of that. There's something very interesting about that position, that action for the outer hip. It's not a position that we typically stand in. We're usually standing with our feet about hip distance wide. And one of the things that typically happens to us as life becomes more sedentary is that we might stand with our feet even closer together. And that close proximity is one of the key reasons that people say that they have more trouble with balance as they're aging. It's just more tightness to the inner thigh, less strength and vitality to the outer hip. So we're going to get some action here. There's another area as well that we're confounded by our hamstring tightness. And there's a fairly easy work that we can do that will address both of these actions in a pose. And so we're going to spread our feet nice and wide. Now I'm deliberately turned on my mat in sort of a three-quarter view. And you could have your feet in any particular direction Right now it works just fine. We want a good arch in our feet. We're spread out, but we're not experiencing any stretch right here. Our first stretch is going to be for the back of our leg region. I want us to pull in the core to make sure that we're not going to flex forward through our spine. We're going to keep our spine nice and locked. And we can lengthen too. Let's tighten our thigh from the hip all the way down to the knee. Our fold line is right here at the hip. So lengthen and bend at the hips. Now, you may not go very far if you're very tight, and that's okay. So we just bend to a point where we're feeling a little bit of sensation of stretch in the back of the leg region. I'm going to turn to the side as you stay in position there to show you that I'm not letting my back round. I'm not trying to get close to the floor. I'm trying to elongate through the front. The low back is staying in the toward the floor position. And we're starting to experience the sensation of stretch right here. And this is a fairly good thing, but it's really hard to keep the spine long. So we're going to give ourselves an advantage. We're going to bend our knees and place our elbows on our knees, and we will pull forward. Now, we've got a great ability to traction our spine just with that pressure of the arms to the legs. You can also pull the shoulders toward the hips as well as reach your head forward to relieve tension from the neck. If you press your feet and your knees slightly outward, you'll begin to engage your hips. But there's a two-part to this one. In one of the parts, we have our hips sinking down, coming closer and closer to the height of our knee. Everyone's different about how low their hips will go. Knees pressing outward, lengthening the spine. We're feeling our outer hip region right now. But now we're going to change with just a simple lift of the hips. Enough bend in the knees that it's a comfortable stretch. You can see my elbows are still on the legs, and I'm pulling forward until I'm feeling a stretch in the back of the leg, the hamstring region. So we're going to be switching back and forth between those two. We're going to bring those hips down again. The knees are separating as we're coming down. We're finding our position of lowering. What does that work with? How is that going to be for us? And then we are lifting our hips up, and we're finding what's our hamstring going to do in this stretch position. We'll do that sequence one more time. Hips coming down. So there's length through the spine in both positions because of the bracing of the arms. Keep those shoulders nice and happy as well. Hips going to comfort, and then hips lifting. Same comfort. I mean, it's a stretch, but I'm not miserable in the stretch. I'm not punishing myself because my muscles might be tight. And then we're going to bend the knees and place our hands on the knees, and we come part way up. And I have you do this because prolonged action like that can leave a change in the blood pressure that takes a moment for us to recover, and then we come upright. So I don't want us to feel like we're doing something that makes us woozy. And you can step out of the position, but we are going back into that because we got some other things to do for the outer hip. So that was really good. Stretch to the back of the leg, a little bit of preliminary action in the outer hip. And now we really want to create an opportunity to rotate the spine, to get some action out of the spine. So we're again going to return to that nice wide stance. All right, in this stance, again, just like we did before, we're making this contraction going from the knee toward the hip here in the front. We're engaging and pulling in the core and lengthening the spine. We're going to bend at our hips coming forward. Now, we continue to lengthen through the front of the body, and we find the resistance of our hamstrings. It didn't go away. It's still there. Maybe it's a little less, but it's still there. And we're going to bend our knees again and bring the elbows down, and we pull forward. And that's great. Now, your decision is how low you sink your hips down or how high. I want you to find a position where you are comfortably challenged, but not excessively so. Knees and feet are pressing outward, and we're going to take our left hand down onto the floor. And we're going to put our right hand on our knee, and we're going to lift the right shoulder above the left shoulder. You just look off to the right side there. Now, you pull forward, but you can also take your right arm, if you want, and stretch it toward the ceiling. Your hips are pulling backward, your head is reaching forward, your arms are reaching away from each other. Take a deep breath. And then we return to the elbows on the knees, and we pull forward. So we stage this. And we can adjust the hips down or up. Now the right hand's going to come down, the left hand to the knee. We lift the left shoulder above the right. We look off to the left there. And we can stay like that, or we can lift that left arm up and lift wrist away from wrist, knees pressing outward, head reaching forward, hips reaching back. Deep inhale. And then exhale back, elbows on the knees, reaching forward. Now you can just watch for the next one, but we're going to do another round of it. Left hand going down, right hand on the knee. Right shoulder above left shoulder, maybe right arm reaching, wrist reach away, knees press out, feet press out, head forward, hips back, deep inhale. Exhale, elbow to the knee, reach forward. Body's like, when am I coming out of this? Right hand going down, left hand to the knee, left shoulder lifting, or also left arm stretching, wrists away from each other, knees press out, chest forward, hips back. Deep inhale. And then exhale, elbows to the knees, hands to those knees. We climb up part way, and then we come all the way out of it. It's like, oh my goodness. Take a moment, take the legs together, walk around a little bit. So the legs often don't let us know what's going on until we've already done a lot. And so that's a nice little active thing. And yet there's one more round of it, because we may have been feeling a lot of activation in different muscle structures, but maybe not as much activation as I really want us to have in the outer hip line. So we're going to go for outer hip activation. And here we are again, returning to our feet very wide apart. We're going to tighten from the knee to the hip. We're going to lengthen the chest, reaching upward. And we're going to fold at our hips, coming forward, and we're going to experience the hamstring stretch. But maybe we're able to create a little more length, or maybe we're bending a tiny bit more. I'm not expecting to go much further than I already was when I first came into this, but a little bit is probably likely. And we're going to bend the knees and elbows, go to the knees again, and we pull forward. And you decide, do the hips stay higher? Do you bring the hips down lower? And lower would be harder. Knees pressing outward, feet pressing outward. We're just going to take that left arm and just reach it forward. And that left hip, you noticed what we were doing. We'll take a deep breath in. Exhale, left elbow comes onto the knee. We pull forward again. And now we're going to take the right arm and we're just going to reach it forward. And yeah, keep that right knee moving out, left knee moving out. Just, hang out there like nothing's going on. Deep inhale. Exhale, right elbow. And you can see this one coming. We take both arms and we just stretch them forward. Like there's something we really want. Knees pressing outward, nice and long, hips higher, low. Take a deep breath. And then exhale, hands to the knees. We come part way up, belly tight. We come the rest of the way up. And it's like, oh my gosh. I know. And so the outer hips definitely notice that happening. And that's very good. We're going to do some stretching for those outer hip lines. So we're going to sit down. I think you'll probably be happy to know that we're going to do that. So we come all the way down. All right. Now in this action, we're going to be doing some interesting things with the leg structure. And you may or may not have experienced these before. But we are going to be targeting the outer hip, both in a very mild activation, as well as we're going to get our shoulders into a little bit of a stretch too. So I'm going to take the legs and I'm just going to straighten them out. But there's a little bit of a gap between the legs, not extreme. I'm elongating the body. And what I'm going to do on my right side, I'm just going to let the right leg move out as far as I comfortably can. And I feel that outer hip engaging as I've done that. So it's in the contraction. I'm going to bring the leg in, but I'm also going to cross it over. Now there's a lot of different places that we can cross over. We do need the foot to be on the floor, so we've got control of that leg. So close to the ankle, close to the knee, but we also can stay leg close to leg or leg further out there, either down here or here. So you're sort of experimenting and saying, how can I get to that I'm feeling maybe a little bit of stretch on this. Now, we're going to take our left arm and we're going to bring the elbow down and the arm is away from the body. And I'm somewhat long right here. I'm not all squinched up nice and tight. I'm nice and long right here. And in this position, I can just sort of begin to press and lift my chest up a little bit. I'm going to take my right arm, I'm going to lift up just a little bit, and I'm going to reach my right arm and come around to the floor, and I'm going to press down on the right foot and pull my chest away from my legs. And so it's pretty dynamic, and a lot of things could be stretching right now. Just take a deep breath in, and we're going to come out of it by lifting the right arm up. It's going to lift upward. We're going to press to come back up. Hands come back behind us, and the leg uncrosses. Okay, well, let's do the other side. So we elongate, and that left leg, we just take it as far out there. We're sort of reminding it that the outer hip, we're going to be dealing with you. We're going to be dealing with you. And then we sweep the leg slowly in, and we cross it over, bringing the foot down. Now, it could be your ankle or knee, could be close to the leg or further away. And the desire is to have a little bit of a stretch line right here. So we're elongating, that left foot can touch down. And the right elbow is going to come down, the fingers going away from the body. We lean onto that arm. And we're pretty long. We're making the side long. And we're going to take the left arm up, and we're going to lift upward and then create a reach away from the body. And then you can feel that. That's going to be a stretch in the ribs. I'm pushing down on the leg and the arm. I'm breathing in nice and deep. And then I'm going to come out of it by taking that left arm up. I'm going to stretch upward, pressing the arm and the leg. I'm going to come back up. I'm going to uncross and come out of the position. All right. So there's definitely a stretch potential in that, but we can take it maybe a little bit further as well. Okay. So back to the right side. Elongate. Right leg's going to go away from us. And then it's going to come over and cross. You're starting to get an idea of where you want that foot to be, but it's got to be able to press downward. So we've got some pressure on that. The left elbow is going to come down, hand pointed away from the body, the side of the waist nice and long. The right arm is going to lift up and we're going to stretch upward and then come across. Now the stretch is the first part and you can just leave it at that. But if I bring my right hand close to the body, pressing right hand, left elbow, right foot, and left leg down, I can lift my hips up. Now, if I wanted to have this even more, I could also stretch the arm upward. We'll take a deep breath. Exhale, hips down, hand down. We will come reaching up and sitting back down again. So it's sort of a choose your own adventure with that. You only go the distance and the actions that you like. All right. Now the left leg is going to go out. Work the leg, what we're going to do, we're going to work. We're going to take the leg in, we're going to cross it over. It could be close or far. You're just getting the idea of where you want the foot to be. It's got to be able to press down. The right elbow's coming down, nice and long on the side. We're going to lengthen that arm coming up and stretch. And you might want to leave it just at the stretch, and that would be perfectly fine. Or if you want the left hand closer, you could press hand and elbow and foot and leg down and lift up. And if you desired more, you could take the arm up into that stretch, breathing. And then we sink down. We come here. We take the arm, we lift, we bring ourselves back up again, and we take the leg back across. Good job. All right, I want us to continue to sit because I want to release the neck and the shoulders a little bit more. We're doing some nice action there. I want us to have a little bit more release, and you're perfectly fine sitting on the floor. If you've got a bolster or a couch cushion to sit your hips up on, that's great too. Maybe your hips are a little looser and you're very comfortable sitting right now, but we want to sit in a way that does not influence us to have lousy, unconscious posture. We want to be uplifting ourselves as we sit. So sit in an uplifted position and let your legs do whatever it is they want to do for you to sit comfortably and fidget as much as you need. Now let's roll one shoulder forward and then the other shoulder, nice little rolling action. And then we'll roll the shoulders the other way because we stretch the shoulder a little bit, but there's some more stretches that I really want us to work with. And the one that again seems to climb on, the more passive we are, the more sedentary we are, the more we sit at desks and do other things in online life, you know, that kind of life we're leading right now, the shoulders steadily go forward and there's not a lot of the opening up. And so we're gonna open that area. We're gonna take one hand, we're gonna start fairly low on the hip line. We're going to go across to the other hip line. We're going to come up our back and around, and I'll just turn so you can see the arm action. Now, where your arm goes to on your back is a very individual thing. So if your arm is not able to climb up very high or isn't comfortable with that, that's perfectly fine. Let's go the other way. So, you know, it's just we're feeling our way into our own flexibility, which is not to be compared to anybody else's because their life isn't the same as ours. And now we're going to leave the hand right in the center of that back. We're going to pull up through the chest and lower the shoulder down and just swing that elbow back behind us and slide the hand as far toward the other side of the body as we can, comfortably. And then this other hand can either just maybe grab behind us if we're that far back or to the side of us, or maybe there's more slack to pull out. Pull up your chest, lower down your shoulders. Now that elbow that's behind you, reach it back a little further and then lift your head up. And lean your head one way. Now, you can lean in any direction, because we don't need both. And just breathe in nice and deep. Don't overstretch. Exhale, bring the head up, and then we're going to lean our head the other way. We'll take a nice deep breath. Exhale, we'll come up, and we'll just let that arm release. And that arm's like 15 feet behind the other arm. Because the nice thing about tension is that tension goes away pretty quickly, but tension that remains for a long period of time becomes permanent postures. So we want to get away from that. Harder to change those postures. Let's take the other hand. We're just going to start. We're going to go across and up the mountain canyon, and maybe very different range of motion one side versus the other. Your dominant side might be tighter or it might be looser. Hard to know exactly how our body's going to represent. Let's go the other way. So whichever, it could be, you know, just lack of movement or too much of one type of movement that might have altered our perfect alignment. Hand into the center of our back. We're going to pull up the chest, lower down the shoulders, swing that elbow back, and then slide the hand. Now, maybe it doesn't go very far. Maybe we have to reach behind ourselves, or maybe it goes rather nicely around and we just hold it, or maybe we can pull some more slack out. Everyone's different. Lift the chest again, lower the shoulder again, reach that elbow back a little further, and then lift your head up and lean your head a little bit to one side. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lift that head up, and then lean your head the other way and take a deep breath in. Exhale, come on out of that and winding out of the arms. It's like, okay. So that's rather nice. That opened up the front of our shoulder a little bit. Now, we're going to take the neck and the shoulder out of the sway of things, and we're going to be working with our legs again, but coming onto our back and doing a rather nice action. It's going to be leading from one action to a completely contrasting action. So we're going to be on our back. Now we're preparing for some bridging action. And so to make the neck continue to be happy, I'm walking the shoulders away, and my arms can be out to the side at least initially. I'm going to hug the legs here in a moment. And just, you know, flatten the back and arch the back a few times. Let your body know what you intend to do. There's going to be some changes right here. And we're going to see, can we bring our legs in and just sort of pull the legs in a nice sort of hugging, flexed body position. There's the part one. I'm doing my best to keep my legs separated hip distance wide, not feet crowd in. It's because now I want to bring my feet down, and I'm going to have them really close to the seat muscle line, just right close to that. Starting to press my heels down and tighten my seat muscles. My low back remains off the floor. I'm going to ask my knees to reach toward the toes, and when they do, I'm going to come up into a bridging position. And you can press those heels and tighten those seat muscles and lift the hips up, but your decision is how high you lift. There should be no stress in this part of the back. The knees reaching away from the head. And then we're going to land on those seat muscles coming down, and we're going to bring our knees back into the chest. So this is the nice little hugged in and folded position. But this next time I bring my feet down, they're not going to be quite as close to me. So instead of being here where they were, I'm moving them out a little bit further. Now press on those heels and tense up those seat muscles. Don't flatten your back. Reach your knees toward your toes, and you're going to lift up and just going to hold that heel pressure and hold that seat muscle tightness in your bridge position as it's helping you open the front of the pelvis there. Breathing nice and deep. And then we're going to land back down on the seat muscles, and we're going to go into our curl position once more. Now we are, as you can see, we're going to gradually take our feet a little further out each time we do the bridge. So I'm coming back down, so I'm not in position one, I'm not in position two. I'm making a little third position there. Pressing down the heels, seat muscle tight. I'm starting to feel more of the hamstring, but the knees still reach toward the toes to lift me up. It becomes a little bit more of a engagement lower in the glute, more top of the hamstring line. Breathing deeply, chin pointing upward, broaden the shoulders. And then exhaling, and the hips come down, land on those seat muscles, go into the curl position. Now you might have gone as far out as you can go, and you can just experiment going back. I'm going to go out just one little bit further. So as I come down, there was position one, and position two, and position three, and then I'm just going to go out about as far as I'm going to feel comfortable. Even though I know my knees aren't going to reach, I'm going to still act like I'm reaching, and if I am, oh my goodness, the back of my leg, if I'm trying to move my knees toward my feet, the back of my leg is furiously fighting me right now. Let's take a deep breath in, and then exhaling, the hips come down, and the legs come back in. But now we're going to make a little bit of a change. I'm going to put my left foot close to me and my right foot back out there, whatever your furthest distance was. Pressing down on those heels, seat muscle tight. I'm going to lift up. So counter, awkward balanced bridge there. And then I'm going to come back down, and the knees are going to pull in. And then the right foot's going to come down close, and the left leg's going to be further out there. Pressure on those heels. Knees reach away. We're going to lift up. And we come back down. Knees pull in. So I'll show it again. The left heel down, the right leg further out there. Pressing down, lifting into our unaligned bridge. Come down, knees into the chest. Right foot close, left foot out there. Lift up. Now, at a certain point, you're going to reach your comfortable max. You may already be backing off. But I might add just one more little thing in here. Well, two. Okay, I'll be honest. We'll pull the legs in. The left leg's close, the right leg's further away. Now, once I lift up, I'm going to take my right leg and point it up there. I'm into my bridge. Then I'm going to bring the leg down, come down, knees in. Now the right foot's close, the left leg further away. I'm going to lift up. I'm going to lift my left leg up. Bring my left leg down and lower down. And that might be satisfying, but there's one more. Knees into the chest. So now it's going to be right leg further away, left leg close. I'm going to lift up, and I'm going to bring my close knee in. Oh my gosh. Come down, a little sensational. Legs coming in. Now the right knee is going to be close to the left leg further away. And we're going to lift up, and pressure stays on that left. And the right knee comes in. Oh my goodness. And down. And then we come down. And now we're just going to bring our knees into the chest. And so it might have been what you did, or you may have said, heck no, not doing that. So we rock a little bit side to side. In fact, we're going to put our feet down so the weight of the legs are off our spine. And we're going to rock. We're going to do our knee rock, side to side knee rock, to release the front of the hip, to release the back, but to take the pressure also off our back. So it's fine to do intense things, and it's also good to let the intensity just, be a brief span of time that we task our body with that action, but we don't belabor it. We don't make it so that it's troublesome, because you probably felt some in the back of the leg, but I want you to be able to ramp up to your personal level of intensity. Now, we're going to come to center, and we're going to lengthen some of these things we've been shortening. So we're going to bring, left foot's going to stay down, right leg's going to come into the chest. We're going to hold our leg, and we're going to just stretch the hamstring. I know the hamstring has just been working for us, and so it's likely to be tight. So I'm not taking this, I'm not letting my leg have to move away from my chest. I'm being reasonable with the straightness of my knee. I just want some sensation in my lot. I'm going to add some sensation into here with reaching my heel or turning the foot from side to side to get a little bit more into the calf region as well as the back of the leg, our posture here. Very nice. And then we're going to bend that right knee. We're going to take our hands up the leg. And we're just going to sway it from side to side. That's going to start to open up the hip a little bit, inner and outer edge. The knee could be bent more or less. I always call this the wiping of the ceiling, because it sort of obscures a part of the ceiling depending on where I have my leg. And if I try and get different parts of the ceiling obscured by my foot, then that encourages me to stretch in little different ways. And so that's good. We're going to let that leg come down. Now, left leg's going to come in. We're going to hold in the back of the leg, snugging it in, and just to the point where the tightness, it's reasonable. It's supposed to be there because we've been working this leg. We're just sort of adjusting it. We're just setting the knobs, if you would, the adjustment knobs, to say that we'd rather it not be short, we want it to be long. And you don't have to do that. You don't shout at it, because shouting at it, making a strong sensation, just makes it more likely to try and get short. Heel reaching up or foot turning side to side, so this area is also comfortably sensational. One of the best things we ever learn is what sensation is a pleasing stretch versus an intense stretch. So we want the pleasing amount of stretch and nothing that's overbuilt. And now we're going to slide our hands up the leg, and we'll just sort of rock from side to side, taking that leg into different positions. Now the shoulders will move a little bit. This side of the hips and pelvis will move. The other side, my right side, staying solid. It's my stability line. And I'm just sort of reaching to different parts of the ceiling, encouraging myself to stretch in ways I wouldn't have thought to stretch at the time. And the arms are acting like little cables, so my leg can relax as I just sort of take it through this nice passive stretch. And then we're going to have that left leg come down. In fact, we're going to stretch that left leg out straight and start to press it down into the floor. The right knee is going to be pulled into the chest, and we're going to flatten our back and try and press the back of the left knee down as we reach the left ankle away from us. Now that idea is to open the front of the hip line there. So we're pressing the knee down, reaching the leg away. And now we're going to take our arms out, and our right leg is going to go up a little bit, not a lot of stretch. And then shoulders pressing, we're going to take our right leg across our body. Now you may have to bend your knee a lot to lift the right hip up higher than the left hip. Press down on the shoulders, reach through the left leg and press it down, and then adjust the knee. It could be closer to the chest, further away. It could be more straight or less straight. And you can turn your head to the right if you prefer to get the neck in the stretch too. So the shoulders and the left leg are pressing down, and the right leg is in a very controlled stretch. There we are targeting this outer hip that we did so much with in our class. Deep inhale. And then on the exhale, we bend the right knee, we come on back to center, and we're going to be stretching the right leg out straight and bending the left leg and bringing the left knee in. So we set ourselves up back, flattening, and right leg back in the knee pressing, because the goal is to open up the front of the right leg. So we're just doing this nice little preparatory phase to open an area that wouldn't normally open. And we're going to take our arms out to the side and straighten the left leg up reasonably, no strong stretch. Shoulders pressing, right leg pressing. We bring the leg across our body. You may have to bend the knee a lot in order to get the left hip above the right hip. We can move the knee further away or closer in. We can straighten it more or less. Shoulders pressing. We can turn our head to the left if we want. And it's just comfortable. The arms are pressing down. The right leg is pressing down. The left leg is adjusted into a very comfortable feeling stretch. Let's take a deep breath in. And then exhaling, we're going to bend the left knee and come on back to center. Now we're going to stretch the legs out. And so one of the things I like us to do when I try and have our class focus on some self-assessment, and that's what we're doing here at the very end. We're busy and we're focused on everything that is not us, and let's get into who and where we are. So turn your hips out and turn your hips in. And notice how the left and the right side feel to each other. These are warm downs that are really good for the structure of our hip. And so we want to just sort of pay attention. What's happening? Do we feel in the hip? Do we feel in the sacral area or the low back region? Is there anything that's alerting us or trying to catch our attention? And then we're going to shimmy. We're going to reach one side longer and then the other side longer. And it's not that long, but it's enough that we feel the stretch up here in our waistline. And if I want the shimmy to be involving my arms, and I can reach wrist and ankle away, and get even more thorough elongation and stretch that way. And that's just alerting me to other places that might be tight, areas that may not have responded as well to our activity, meaning that it just didn't make that much of a difference yet. Doesn't mean that it won't, just means that yet it's not. We relax that. We're going to just sort of take our arms out of that uplifted position. Let's tense up the seat muscles and let them go soft. Now, you can do that one side at a time and make a little bit of a tilt, both at the same time, or just sort of a swaying, waving action from one side to the other. But if you turn your hips inward and try and tighten your seat muscles, you're going to find that the level of control that you have has changed dramatically. And it's just a little thing about having a human body that occurs, but it's something good for us to work with. Gain more mind and body connection. You release that, the feet naturally turn outward. Now inhale, arch the back, and then exhale, work to flatten the back. Now we did a little bit of pelvic tilting when our knees were bent, and we were more able to flatten our back. The arch, we're able to do better with our legs straight. The flattening of that back, you're really going to have to pull in and engage the core strongly in order to get your back completely flat onto the floor. But any flattening at all is a nice workout. And then relax that. Let's move the shoulders away from the head toward the hips. Let's turn the arms inside of the elbows, palms to the ceiling. Let's wobble the head back and forth, circle the chin a little bit, one way and the other, and maybe even go into a nice full chin tuck. And then a nice elongated neck arch until settling down right here in the center. Exhale completely and start your breath in your belly. Try and fill up the belly space. Take it into the sides, the underarms, into the lower back, upper back, and collarbones. Tense up your body as you're filling, and then exhale, go soft and relaxed and completely in. And then repeat this 4-part breath, belly breath, sides and low back, collarbones, deep inhales and slow exhales. Over and over again, just letting your body settle in. We've defined a lot of the alignment of the body with our finishing touches. We're now just settling in, just letting the body sit, or in this case, recline, for just a few moments, so that our body and mind can be at the same place at the same time. Feel your breathing, the coolness from nose to throat to collarbones to lungs. Notice the dimensions of the spread outward of your ribs and your belly. Tighten your clothes around you. Feel your body placement on the floor change a little bit with your breathing in versus breathing out. So over and over again, we're creating this action. Breathing in and breathing out. And that's putting us in that single solitary moment where mind and body can unite in the here and the now. It washes out stress. It allows the body to truly be in its optimal state right here, right now.